Nicaragua, the largest country in Central America, is a land of lakes and volcanoes, of revolutions and poets, of resilience in the face of hardship and beauty that has captivated travelers for centuries. Its story is not a simple one. It is the story of indigenous civilizations that thrived long before Europeans set foot on its shores, of colonization that reshaped its destiny, of struggles for independence, and of a people who have endured earthquakes, hurricanes, dictatorships, and wars, yet remain deeply tied to their culture, their land, and their hope for the future. Long before the Spanish arrived, Nicaragua was home to diverse indigenous groups, each contributing to the rich cultural tapestry that defines the nation today. The Chorotega, the Nicarao, and the Miskito each carved out lives in different regions of the land. The Nicarao people, from whom the country takes its name, were part of the Nahua culture linked to the great civilizations of Mexico. They brought maize-based agriculture, rituals honoring gods, and the Nahuatl language that still echoes in many place names today. On the Atlantic coast, the Miskito people developed distinct traditions, often more tied to the Caribbean than to the rest of Central America. The land they inhabited was one of extremes: towering volcanoes, vast lakes, fertile plains, and dense forests teeming with wildlife. In 1502, Christopher Columbus sighted Nicaragua's eastern shores during his fourth voyage, but it was the Spanish conquest beginning in the 1520s that truly altered the course of history. Francisco Hernández de Córdoba, considered the country's founder, established Granada and two colonial cities that still stand as treasures of architecture and history. Granada became a hub of commerce. Its wealth derived from trade across Lake Nicaragua and its strategic location connecting the Pacific to the Caribbean. León, in contrast, became a center of intellectual and religious life, producing bishops, writers, and political leaders. But conquest was brutal. Indigenous populations were decimated by disease, forced labor, and displacement. The Spanish imposed Catholicism, reshaping spiritual traditions, though indigenous beliefs persisted in hidden forms, woven into festivals and rituals that survive to this day. For centuries, Nicaragua remained a colonial backwater, valued less for its gold than for its potential as a transit route. Lake Nicaragua and the San Juan River almost created a natural canal between the oceans, and dreams of connecting the Atlantic and Pacific through Nicaraguan territory date back to the 16th century. This vision would later attract the interest of empires and foreign powers, who saw Nicaragua as a key to global trade. The dream of a canal through Nicaragua persisted throughout the 19th century, attracting investors, schemers, and international intrigue. At one point, the United States seriously considered building the canal there instead of in Panama, and debates in Washington nearly tipped in Nicaragua's favor. The U.S. even placed its mark on Nicaraguan politics through interventions meant to protect its interests. By the early 20th century, U.S. Marines were stationed in Nicaragua, and financial arrangements gave Washington great influence over the economy. The Somoza family emerged from this context. Beginning in 1936, with Anastasio Somoza Garcia, the Somozas built one of Latin America's most enduring dictatorships. Backed by U.S. support during the Cold War, they controlled the National Guard, amassed vast personal fortunes, and ruled with a mixture of patronage and repression. For decades, Nicaragua seemed locked under their grip, yet resistance simmered, particularly among students, intellectuals, and workers. Nicaragua also became a land of poets, with voices like shaping not just national identity, but the entire Spanish-speaking literary world. Often called the father of modernismo, gave Nicaragua cultural prestige, proving that even in hardship, the nation's creativity could shine. By the 1960s and 70s, opposition coalesced around the Sandinista National Liberation Front, or FSLN, named after Augusto Sandinista, a nationalist who had fought against U.S. intervention in the 1920s and 30s. Sandinista became a symbol of dignity and resistance, assassinated by the National Guard but immortalized as a revolutionary hero. The Sandinistas waged a guerrilla war against the Somoza regime, gaining strength after the 1972 Managua earthquake, which killed tens of thousands and left much of the capital in ruins. The Somoza regime's corruption during the relief effort fueled anger, and by 1979, after years of bloody conflict, the Sandinistas overthrew Anastasio Somoza Debayle, ending the dynasty. The revolution electrified the world. Nicaragua became a symbol of struggle against imperialism and dictatorship. The Sandinistas introduced sweeping reforms, land redistribution, literacy campaigns, health programs, and efforts to empower the poor. But the revolution also drew fierce opposition, particularly from the United States, which under President Ronald Reagan funded the Contra rebels in a brutal civil war that scarred the 1980s. Villages were burned, lives were lost, and the economy collapsed under the weight of conflict, embargoes, and mismanagement. Nicaragua became a Cold War battlefield where ideology turned neighbor against neighbor. By the 1990s, exhausted by war, Nicaraguans turned to elections to chart their future. In 1990, In a stunning outcome, Violeta Chamorro defeated Sandinista leader Daniel Ortega, becoming Latin America's first elected female head of state. Her presidency ushered in a period of fragile peace and market reforms, though poverty remained widespread. Over the following decades, Nicaragua oscillated between political forces, but Daniel Ortega, once the revolutionary leader, returned to power in 2007 and has remained ever since. His rule, initially welcomed for promises of stability and growth, has increasingly been criticized as authoritarian, with crackdowns on dissent and consolidation of power. In many ways, the cycles of strongman rule and resistance that have defined Nicaragua's history continue into the present. Beyond politics, Nicaragua is a land of extraordinary natural beauty. Known as the land of lakes and volcanoes, it boasts Lake Nicaragua, the largest freshwater lake in Central America, dotted with islands like Ometpi, where twin volcanoes rise majestically from the water. Granada, with its pastel-colored colonial buildings and cobblestone streets, is one of the oldest cities in the Americas, while León bursts with Baroque churches and revolutionary murals. The Pacific coast offers surfing waves and black sand beaches, while the Caribbean coast reveals an entirely different world, home to the Miskito, Garifuna, and Creole communities, with reggae rhythms, coconut-based cuisine, and a culture tied to the sea. Nicaragua's biodiversity is astonishing. Its forests shelter jaguars, tapirs, monkeys, and hundreds of bird species. Its volcanic soil nurtures coffee, tobacco, and cacao, products that connect the country to global markets. Yet deforestation and climate change threaten these treasures, forcing Nicaragua to confront the balance between development and conservation. Hurricanes regularly batter its Caribbean coast, while droughts test the resilience of farmers. Despite these challenges, local communities and international partnerships strive to protect reserves, promote ecotourism, and sustain the environment that has always been at the heart of Nicaraguan life. The people of Nicaragua are known for their warmth, hospitality, and creativity. Festivals explode with color and music, from the celebrations honoring the Virgin Mary to the vibrant dances of indigenous traditions. Food is hearty and tied to the land. Gallo pinto, a simple dish of rice and beans, is the daily staple, while nacatamalas, made of masa filled with meat and vegetables and wrapped in banana leaves, grace family gatherings. The marimba provides the soundtrack to celebrations, blending indigenous, African, and Spanish influences into rhythms that are distinctly Nicaraguan. Literature and art remain pillars of identity. Influence lives on in generations of poets and writers who see language as resistance, beauty, and truth. Murals across León and Managua tell stories of struggle and hope, blending politics with artistry. Even in times of hardship, Nicaraguans find ways to create, to sing, to dance, to write. In the modern era, Nicaragua faces the dual challenge of addressing its political crises and unlocking its economic potential. Poverty remains a pressing issue, with many families relying on remittances from relatives abroad. Yet tourism has grown steadily, driven by its natural wonders and relatively low costs, attracting travelers seeking authenticity. Surfers, hikers, and eco-tourists discover a land less commercialized than its neighbors, where adventure feels raw and unfiltered. From the colonial grandeur of Granada to the artistic heart of León, from the lush landscapes of Masaya to the tranquil beauty of San Juan del Sur, Nicaragua offers a tapestry of experiences that resonate with those who seek more than just a vacation. It beckons travelers to engage with its people, its culture, and its history, making it more than just a destination, a journey of discovery and understanding. As the sun sets over Nicaragua's majestic landscape, it paints the sky with hues of orange and purple, mirroring the resilience and beauty that define its people. The story of Nicaragua is far from over. It is a story that continues to be written in the hearts and minds of those who call this land home, a testament to the indomitable spirit of a nation that has endured and evolved through the ages.